on the flip side, Ohio State, couple offensive notes. Ryan Day seemed to be encouraged by Emeka Egbuka's injury. Still hasn't put a timetable on it. I don't know that he ever publicly will, but he certainly indicated that it didn't seem to be a long-term thing. That's good. And perhaps the one guy that hasn't really gotten any run this year at all that fans are trying to figure out, hey, what's he got to do to get on the field is Dallin Hayden, who last year, when he got his chances, looked really solid. And I think there's this infatuation for sure around the next big thing that's coming. And, Dallin Hayden came in as one of the truly premier running backs in the country. And he suddenly finds himself in a room with a lot of really good dudes in front of him. And Ryan Day alluded to the fact that they would like to try to get him some playing time, but ultimately have considered trying to preserve a year of eligibility for him too.
Yeah, that's exactly what, you took away from, the comments that Coach Day made is like, hey, this is a long-term play. Yes, we all saw him last year, and he was awesome, and he is awesome. But we have 3 guys right now that can get the job done, and you don't want to force something and take a year away from Dallin Hayden when, hey, let's hope Travion comes back and is able to go. And then you love what you're getting from Chip Trayanum. Like, yes, he may have struggled last week, and maybe not so much struggled, but just last week didn't go the way we wanted it to. But he's shown spurts. Mayan Williams, he had a tweet last week or this past weekend where it was like, hey, maybe he's thinking he should get some more carries, the ball in his hands a little bit more. So they got 3 horses that can go. And he even acknowledged, he's like, yeah, Down's ready. He can go. We love what we're seeing out of him, but we don't want to just use him to use him. We got 3 guys we trust. Let's keep Dallin. Let's keep that, that arrow in our quiver, if you will, and make this a long-term play as opposed to, hey, we need him right now.
All right, so when Kyle McCord and the Buckeyes take the field on Saturday, what can we expect from the Purdue defense?
Yeah, Purdue defense, they're all right. They get after the quarterback. That's one of the big things. They have 18 sacks on the year, which is second in the Big Ten. So they do get after the quarterback, and that's something to definitely keep your eyes on. And something that we watched last week, like, hey, sometimes – whether it's situational focus, we had some really good comments in our video on Monday of, hey, is it more situational? Is it Kyle's fault? Is it the line's fault where he's taking sacks? But regardless, it's a whole team effort, and these guys get after the quarterback. So that's an emphasis. Protect Kyle McCord, keep him upright. We're playing at a grass field, so his jersey, the goal is that it comes off the field white. You don't want it to be green. Keep him upright, keep him standing up is going to be a huge point of emphasis. In the back end, they're led by safety. He wears number 31, Dylan Thyman, 53 tackles on the year, 3 picks. And he's really the only guy of note in their secondary. So keep that ball away from number 31. And then one of their linebackers really gets after the quarterback. Kaiden Jenkins, 6 tackles for a loss, 3 sacks. Think of it like the best way to kind of compare it. Guy everyone knows, TJ Watt. He plays that outside linebacker position. He can drop in coverage. I'm not saying he is TJ Watt, but he can drop in coverage, but he can also come after the quarterback. Very athletic there. But it's advantage Buckeyes, and it's got to be advantage Buckeyes. The biggest thing that I'm looking for on Saturday is they have to start fast. Like, it's no excuses. And it doesn't mean we don't need 40 points in the first quarter, but you need your first drive to end in points. You need your second drive to end in points. You can't be 3rd and 16. You can't be backed up. Like, this offense needs to come out of the locker room, whatever, if they take the opening kickoff or if they get the first punt, we got to go right now. There's no more waiting around. That's a huge area of improvement that this offense needs to take.
And I hope, because of what you pointed out, the nature of Purdue's defense, they try to really get after the quarterback. I don't know that I believe in their pass rush the same way, as George Karlaftis when he was there, although, quite frankly, those that remember the streams that we did a couple of years ago, I mean, Tommy Zagorski and I were actually not all that high on Karlaftis in the grand scheme of things, even though everybody else thought he was awesome. I would think that Ohio State wants to try to take advantage of Purdue's aggressiveness, because if I'm playing against the Bucks, I look at their offensive line and say, let's go get after these guys, right? I mean, young quarterback, offensive line's not playing great. Who knows if Travion Henderson's going to be 100% healthy. I know what's being said publicly, but he didn't play last week. Maybe they just say, hey, we're going to just try to bring it. And so if I'm Ohio State, I think a good chunk of their scheme needs to be around trying to take advantage of Purdue's, pretty aggressive mentality.
Yeah, no question about it. And you'll see early on really what Ohio State's plan is, and really how they're going to who's going to control the tempo on offense. Because like when we talk our defense versus their offense, like it's heavy Ohio State controlling the tempo, and like Purdue's going to have to respond. Ohio State's offense isn't at the level yet where it's like, hey, we're going to come out and we know it's going to go, and Purdue's going to have to adjust to us. Like you really need to take it to these guys, and really just control the tempo, control the pace right from the start. And that way you're playing from ahead, and not maybe but via score, but you're playing from ahead, with your play calls, with your tempo, with your speed, and just keeping them on their heels. So that's really what I'm looking for early on Saturday.
Should be a lot of fun. Can't wait for the game without a doubt. I mean, I really am looking forward to being there and seeing how the Buckeyes get after it here this weekend. And in the meantime, we know that it's a busy night down at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. We've got plenty of coverage coming your way, although there's obviously Anthony and I are from home today. But the Ohio State coaches and players that are available tonight to the media, Brian Hartline, Coach Fry, Coach Keenan, Coach Larry Johnson, Kyle McCord, Julian Fleming, G. Scott, JT, and Caden Curry are all supposed to be made available to reporters tonight. So for all the latest on what those guys had to say, I'm sure we will have videos posted on this YouTube channel here shortly, so you can check that out here anytime you'd like. And as always, for the latest news and info on the team, BuckeyesNow.com is your written home. For Anthony Moeglin, I'm Brendan Gulick. We'll see you later this week here as we continue our preview for Ohio State and Purdue as we get really close now to the midway point of the 2023 season.